In a quiet suburb just outside of Chicago, there lives a man named Arthur. Every weekday morning at 7:30, Arthur walks out to his driveway, climbs into a decade-old silver sedan with a noticeable scratch on the driver's side door, and merges into the monotonous flow of highway traffic. To his neighbors, Arthur is the definition of getting by. He works a steady, unremarkable job in middle management. He doesn't take extravagant vacations. He doesn't wear designer labels. If you asked his colleagues about his financial status, they would likely whisper that he's probably one medical emergency away from a crisis. They pity him. They assume he is struggling to keep up with the pressures of modern life. They couldn't be more wrong. What they don't know, what they couldn't possibly fathom, is that Arthur has a net worth exceeding $5 million. His home is paid off. His retirement isn't just secured, it's a fortress. He could stop working tomorrow, never earn another cent, and live in total comfort for the rest of his life. But he chooses the sedan. He chooses the quiet neighborhood. He chooses to look poor. This is the central paradox of our time. We have been conditioned to believe that wealth is a performance. We are taught that if you have money, you must display it, like a peacock spreading its feathers to signal health and vitality. But in the real world, the peacock is the first one caught by the predator. The predator in this story isn't a wolf or a bear. It is a sophisticated, invisible, psychological trap that I call the status anxiety engine. It is the invisible force that tells you your worth is tied to your consumption. It is the narrative that suggests if you aren't upgrading, you are downgrading. And the modern world is designed to keep you trapped in this cycle because a satisfied person is a terrible consumer. The system needs you to be dissatisfied. It needs you to look at your neighbor's new car and feel a pang of inadequacy so that you will go out and finance a car you cannot afford to feel enough. This brings us to two very different archetypes of human existence. On one side, we have the victim of the system. Let's call him Julian. Julian is a high earner, an intelligent professional who believes he is playing the game of life correctly. He buys the luxury apartment, the watch, and the clothes. He operates on the logic of immediate gratification. Julian believes that his spending is a reward for his hard work. But every time Julian upgrades his lifestyle, he is actually shackling himself to his desk. He is increasing his burn rate. He is trading his future autonomy for present-day validation. He thinks he is showing the world he is rich, but in reality, he is only showing the world his bank's credit limit. On the other side, we have the architect of wealth. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah understands something that Julian refuses to acknowledge. Money has a time value. She views every dollar not as a piece of paper to be swapped for a status symbol, but as a seed to be planted. When Sarah looks at a luxury item, she doesn't see success. She sees the opportunity cost of that item. She sees the compound interest she is sacrificing. She understands that the most powerful thing you can do with money is to make it invisible. To the world, Sarah looks like she is lagging behind. To her future self, she is running a race that no one else can even see. Why do we make the mistake of choosing Julian's path? It comes down to a biological glitch called hedonic adaptation. Evolution wired us to constantly seek better circumstances to survive. But in a world of abundance, this trait backfires. We get a promotion, we buy a better car, and for a few days we feel superior. Then the novelty evaporates. We return to our baseline level of happiness. The car is no longer a luxury vehicle. It is just my car. And because we are back to our baseline, we feel an itch to upgrade again. We are stuck on a treadmill, running at full speed just to stand still, but there is a deeper, more brutal mechanism at play. Loss aversion. We are biologically programmed to fear losing what we have more than we value gaining something new. When you adopt the look poor strategy, you are essentially betting against the social consensus. The fear of being the odd one out, the person driving the old car at the office parking lot, is a powerful social deterrent. We fear the judgment of others more than we fear our own financial insecurity. We are terrified that if we stop playing the game of status, we will lose our social standing, and so we keep spending, we keep the facade up, we keep the system fed. Here is the truth bomb that the marketing machines don't want you to know. You're not buying things. You are buying the temporary relief from the fear of being perceived as unsuccessful. Every luxury brand in existence is just a sophisticated seller of narrative. They don't sell materials, they sell a story about who you are. They sell the lie that your identity is what you own. But notice that the people who have actually conquered the game, the people who have achieved true independence, are the ones who have stopped telling that story. They have walked away from the stage. They have realized that the only audience that matters is their own future self. The most dangerous weapon in the system's arsenal isn't a high interest rate or a bad investment. It is the subtle, pervasive whisper of, "I deserve this." Every single time you make a purchase to soothe a hard day or to signal your position in the professional hierarchy, you are paying a tax on your own freedom. Julian, our victim of the system, calls this self-care. Sarah, the architect of wealth, calls it financial self-sabotage. The irony is brutal. The harder you work to look like you've made it, the less likely you are to ever actually be free. You are essentially renting your identity from a world that will forget you the moment you stop paying the premium. Consider the math of the hidden wealth. When you spend $10,000 on a luxury watch or a high-end designer accessory, you aren't just losing $10,000. You are losing the compounding power of that money over 3 decades. At a modest 7% market return, that single purchase could have become over $75,000 by the time you reach retirement. Every status symbol you carry on your body is literally an invisible chain dragging behind you, weighing down your future choices. This is mental accounting gone wrong. We treat our income as a resource for today's comfort, while our future self is left waiting for a payout that will never arrive because we keep spending the capital that was supposed to grow it. But let's get deeper into the social dynamics. Why is it that the loudest voices in the office are often the ones the most trapped? It is because visible wealth creates a prison of expectations. If you show the world that you are wealthy, the world starts to treat you differently. Colleagues expect you to pick up the tab. Friends and extended family assume you have an endless reservoir of support. Suddenly, your life is no longer your own. You are a public resource. You are constantly under the scrutiny of people who believe that your success is their opportunity. The person who looks poor, conversely, is granted the most valuable commodity in the world: privacy. No one asks you for money. No one expects you to live up to a standard you didn't choose. You are allowed to be yourself. You are allowed to be mysterious. Here is the pivot point most people miss. The goal was never to be thrifty or cheap. The goal is to maximize the utility of your time. If you work a job you don't love to buy things you don't need to impress people you don't even like, you haven't succeeded. You have become a high-functioning cog in a system that feeds on your anxiety. The architect of wealth knows that every dollar not spent is a vote for autonomy. When you have enough of those votes, you gain the power to say no. You can say no to the toxic boss. You can say no to the soul-crushing commute. You can say no to the social obligations that drain your spirit. That is what success looks like. It's not in your closet or your driveway. It's in the sheer, unadulterated freedom to wake up on a Tuesday and do exactly what you want to do. If you think looking successful is the same as being successful, you have already lost the game. We are taught to look at the surface, the car, the house, the neighborhood, but the surface is precisely where the system hides the truth. The system relies on you focusing on the what, so you never ask about the how. How did they get it? And more importantly, what did they have to surrender to keep it? The truth is, Most of the people you envy are playing a high-stakes game of bluff. They are one paycheck, one layoff, or one health scare away from the entire facade crumbling. They are living in constant, low-level terror that the world will discover they are running on fumes. Ask yourself this and be honest. How much of your current lifestyle is actually for you? If you were living on a desert island, would you still be wearing that brand? Would you still be driving that car? If the answer is no, then you are a prisoner of the system. You are trading your finite, irreplaceable hours of life for the fleeting validation of strangers. You are working for a master who doesn't care if you retire or if you collapse as long as you keep consuming. The moment you realize that looking poor is actually the ultimate power move, the entire world shifts. You stop competing in a race that was designed to be unwinnable. You stop measuring your worth by the metrics of a system that wants you perpetually broke and perpetually hungry. True wealth is the ability to walk away. It is the silence of knowing you have enough. It is the freedom of being unobserved and unburdened. The system is watching you right now, waiting to see if you'll buy into the next trend, the next upgrade, the next must-have status symbol. They are waiting for you to prove that you are still a good, obedient consumer. But what if you stopped? What if you decided that your peace of mind was worth more than their perception of your success? What if you dared to be poor in their eyes so you could be truly rich in your own? If you want to see the system for what it really is, subscribe. We aren't here to help you play the game better. We're here to help you opt out entirely. The choice is yours. Are you building a prison or are you building an exit?